Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something that's really only applies to advanced lifters. I would never ever have novice or intermediate lifters max out on a good morning unsupervised, meaning I would be willing to let them do it if I was there in person. Okay, I'm not currently coaching any clients in person. Okay, I'm not coaching any clients in person. So it's not something I would program for people. But that aside, let's talk about this for a moment because I use the good morning for myself and my clients as both a primary exercise that we max on, as well as a primary assistance and accessory movement, meaning we use it to hypertrophy a lot of muscles that we use in other lifts. And I tend to agree with people like Dr. Ben Pollock who say that the good morning is the single best squat and deadlift accessory. Now, does that mean that that's the only thing we ever need? No. But it should be a staple in your training. It should be a staple in your training. And I will point out a lot of the guys out there who say, well, I think this lift is better and I don't like the good morning. Well, they're not breaking world records, are they? Okay. They're not coaching people who are breaking world records. A lot of the guys who are coaching people who break world records and are breaking world records themselves tend to really like the good morning. And that should speak volumes about it. But for me personally, I've had great success with it. I've taken plenty of novice lifters and got them up to, 450 deadlifts, 500 plus deadlifts, getting their squats up above 400, getting squats to 500. And I think for most people out there, let's be realistic here. That is really a lifetime type goal for the majority of lifters. All right, to get to a 455 to a 500 squat and a mid 500s deadlift is for a lot of guys out there who are not going to be ultra competitive is kind of a lifetime type goal. And the good morning is a valuable tool to get you there. But let's talk about getting really strong at the squat. Okay, it is extremely valuable to us to get our good morning up to as high as our squat. Why? Because it removes the concerns of good morning in a squat. You know how I always say that a lot of times when we're worried about form, we're worried about compensatory strength, that hypertrophy and just getting stronger is usually the only solution. In other words, there's only so much you can do to correct form for an advanced lifter. Okay? And we deal with compensatory strength. Compensatory strength is normal. Like people freak out about it, if there's any compensatory strength. No, it's not necessarily a big deal. It's going to exist, and it exists in the elite levels in strength sports and uninjured people. There are people who have horrific compensatory strength on lifts who are uninjured and literally competing at the world level in strength sports. The difference is it compensatory strength because you're weak, or is it compensatory strength because you are an advanced or elite lifter who happens to have some muscles that are stronger than others? In other words, all of your muscles are really strong, some are just ridiculously strong, some are inhumanly strong. And in that case, you're going to have some compensatory strength. At a certain threshold, some forward leaning good morninging of the squat occurs, and it occurs at the elite level. It occurs in world record holding lifters. Now, there's two ways we could look at heavy good mornings. And I've already discussed in the past of why the good morning and the power squat are very, very, very similar movements. That really there's only one joint angle difference. Okay, we've discussed this ad nauseum. But let's talk about the good morning squat. If you can hit a max good morning with your goal squat weight, we're not worried about this compensatory strength. We're not worried about this compensation. We're not worried about your squat turning into a good morning. Why? Because you can already safely and effectively good morning that weight. In other words, let's say your goal, we'll set the bar low. Let's say your goal is a 500 squat. Okay. And I want people to understand this is my channel. This is how we think here. This is how I coach. Yes, I'm setting the bar low because a 500 squat represents a very good strength base and strength specialization, but it's not necessarily elite. And it's not outside of the average person's genetics. Okay? No, not everyone's going to ever squat 600, 700, things like that. Understandable. A 500 squat can be reached with fairly bad genetics. Okay? Can be done with good training. So let's say if your goal is a 500 squat. If you can get your good morning up to 500, we're not worried about what's happening with compensatory strength if it's turning into a good morning. Because you'll be able to safely lock it. So what? You good morning it a little bit. You're able to do a good morning with 500 already, safely. You'll lock it. It'll be just fine. And let's come back over to the other point. Okay, let's come over to the other point. Someone who has a 500 good morning is actually less likely to turn a 500 squat into a good morning. Why? Because they have the back strength to push that weight out of a good morning already. So they're less likely to see their chest and things cave enough for it to even happen. Okay? It may not even happen until they get to a weight above that, because they're used to locking a good morning from that position up already. It's not a big deal for them to hold the position at the top. Okay? If you can hit a 500 good morning, you're going to have no problem keeping extension of the T-spine. Right? You're going to probably have decent thoracic extension anytime you have 500 pounds on your back, because you can already do a full good morning with that. You're used to locking it through that range of motion, so holding it there statically, not as big of a deal. Right? And so occasionally you'll see someone talk about, well, they think they can good morning more than they squat. I occasionally see that. It's like, your good morning is probably not even a remote rep. It's probably a quarter rep. Okay? Because realistically, your goal should be to just get your good morning as heavy as your goal squat. If you can do that, you're going to be successful. Why? Because now you just need to build your quads. Because you've already built all the other muscles beyond that goal. In other words, if you can do a 500 good morning, you've already built everything but your quads to squat over 500. Okay, you've already built every muscle needed to squat 500 other than quads. You just need some quads now. And quads are really not that hard to build. You shouldn't even be at that point to where they're lagging if your training is remotely balanced to where you can't do it. Okay, easy enough solution. But the point here is that we need to get to that point and not just be able to do it with a max, because doing it with a max lets us learn the pattern of doing it. But we need to actually have the equivalent on rep work, because we don't build a 500 good morning by doing max good mornings. We build it by repping the good morning and good morning variations. Okay? Makes sense? You need to be able to do at least 315 per 10, probably more. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.